So I haven't made a little video in a while, but I thought I'm going to be doing a lot of riding soon, and I wanted to make some videos about riding, and I didn't really have a great way to set up the camera on there, sort of the GoPro for the handlebars. But I was watching a Potato Jet video from a while back, and he suggested that this company PGYTECH makes a cage for the DJI Osmo Action. I still can't say DJI Osmo Action. And what it provides you is a cold shoe, and then you add the cage, you add the cold shoe, then you've got a mic, and then to plug in the mic you use a USB-C connector, and then you end up with something like this. Not exactly compact, but it's light. The question is, does it actually work? Does that cut wind? Will it vlog? And for that I tried a little test, which is obviously next. So I'm trying to do things a little bit more differently this time. Instead of just putting an action camera on the front of the bike and pointing at my face, I put it in a special cage. It's called the PGYTECH DJI Osmo Action thingy. Anyway, what it does is it gives me a cold shoe. So in that cold shoe I've got the Rode Video Mic Go plugged to the top with a nice big fluffy dead cat that's probably coming to the top of the frame, making it look like I have a grey beard. It looks completely silly and bulky on the bike, but on the plus side I'm hoping that you're going to be able to hear what I'm saying right now, in spite of the fact I'm riding into the wind, which would be absolutely nice. Last time I tried doing this sort of thing, I had to put subtitles for almost everything I said. It kind of takes a bit of the fun out of post-production. There's a couple other interesting quirks. Given this is the Osmo Action, I've got a front-facing screen, so I can see that I'm fairly well in frame, even though this is quite a short bike. And only the top of my helmet's clipped out. What I'm kind of wondering is that whether the stabilization of the road is really going to work out. The super smooth, hyper smooth, the rock steady, one half of the Ninja Turtles' greatest foe's stabilization, whether it will not be my foe when it comes to shaky movement. I should probably also take the time to mention the fact that I've got a, you can probably see that I've got a giant camera strapped, tucked right under my chin, looking like a techno man here. That's not part of what I'm trying to test today. That's the Peak Design capture clip. Got it strapped to my bag here. Partly I'm just testing it out, see where the camera flaps around, and secondly I'm pack horsing like 10 million things in my bag. So I literally have no room for my camera, so I had to clip it to the front. Not sure about the position, but it's kind of tucking my chin right now. That's the stave, shooting at 4K 50. Not because I want 50% slow-mo, but because having that many frames in a timeline. Having that many frames in a timeline allows for far better stabilization, less motion blur, makes it easier. I can also position this cold shoe mic back at me. So the Rode Video Micro, gosh, I hope I've got the right model. They've got Mic Go, Mic Row, Mic No, Mic Z and Adrock models. I'm not quite sure which of the 7 this is, but I know that it is a cardio pattern, it's not a directional, so hopefully that's enough to pick up my voice given I'm not directly behind it. Or maybe it's just a noisy mess and it's kind of a flawed plan from the start, but proof will be in the editing, which I can't hear quite right now. Not riding while monitoring. So I need to be able to hear who's trying to kill me. So I'm not exactly bombing this hill, but it'd be interesting to know how much wind noise is coming up. Can't actually get into any sort of tucking position, even if I tried, going to the fact that this camera setup sits about 20 centimeters above the bars, so I'd be leaning on the camera. So that's a consideration I never thought of, and I can see why people normally mount the action cam below the bars and upside down sort of format. Possibly the solution is to just have one clip where I can put the action camera below the bars and then another one for when I want to talk above the bars. And that feels like a good solution because it involves buying more gear, and as we all know, buying more gear is usually the solution. Mildly strong headroom. I wonder what the audio is doing there. Am I audible at all? Am I audible.com or am I server not found? One place I really am not planning on shooting a hell of a lot of content is along this road, Burke Road. Probably the longest cycle path on my journey, but no probablys about whether it's the shittest. It is 100% the shittest. Basically a mosaic of lumps, tiles, fixes, different texture types, bumps. It's about as cycle unfriendly as it could possibly be while being a specifically cycle friendly space. This is the good bit, by the way, that's why it's not quite bouncing that much. See the hairy grey elephant's testicle perhaps only slightly bob into frame. That's going to be a recurring thing on this, I'm sure. I think I might end up just having to give myself heaps of headroom so that I can cut off the elephant's testicle. Alright, now here we're getting into the truly shit bit of Burke Road. See if Bebop can keep up. See if Shredder can defeat Splinter. Makes me think, you know, that the amount of engineering, battery, and nous that went into this front screen just so I can basically check a little bit of framing makes me think, much like the Russians took pencils into outer space instead of pens, wouldn't a mirror suffice? This is a gigantic chance that none of this is being picked up through some fault of my own, or just the fact that wind noise is pretty terrible. Well, this mic is not very good, it's not expansive, but we'll see. How's the audio now? I've gone a bit faster. Feels like it should be shit because I can hear the wind in my ears. If it isn't shit, I'll be fucking amazed. Given them it's after 3 PM, we've got the nice long shadows coming through over this stinky river. It's not that stinky. Just wouldn't eat from it. Pelicans shit there after all. Young couple. Newborn, they're both off work, had a baby in the middle of the pandemic, and they had a baby, so double life ruined. Cool old codger with his sea dog. That's what pirates look like nowadays, in case you were wondering, now that they're not sailing pinnaces around the Caribbean. They're taking rusty Melbourne stars around Mascot. I wasn't planning on taking any B-roll with my A cam. That makes no sense. Technically correct. Look it up. But let's see what we can do. I'm around City Airport. Put it in slow-mo mode. Take the lens cap off. I'm going to regret this. I just know it. Okay, just realised why Francis Cade wears clear glasses. I can't see my exposure levels at all. There's a hot tip. I figure he'd know what he's doing. Peak design is a no-go. Alright, confirmed. Using the A cam as a big cam on the peak design clip is pretty much a no-go. Requires stopping and pulling over to put back on. I think there's a reason that other bicycle vloggers, as mentioned, don't carry a huge messenger bag and just use a strap, because everything else is just a pain in the ass. Right now, welcome to the beautiful Riverside Housing Corporation Golden Goose, Walleye Creek. Now this is smooth road, and low winds. Maybe you can hear me well there, maybe. Maybe it'll be a tolerable amount of wind noise. Excellent crushed velvet tracksuits there. So welcome to the other formerly shittest part of road in the inner south of Sydney, Arncliffe Street. So I guess we got the coronavirus to thank for one thing, and that's the government basically opening up every slush project they had circulating the drain for years. Like there's a big vat of tarmac that just rained down. Can't complain too much, it's pretty good. General thought I just had there, I sort of love being overtaken by a hybrid car. See, normally when a car overtakes you in a huff, you hear the whine of continuously variable transmission as they rev the crap out of their hyper-efficient 1.2 litre hatchback and disappear relatively slowly into the distance. But with a hybrid car, just sort of whirs. There's no catharsis for the driver in passing the shitty cyclist. That one point there, it's going to cost us the planet. So as terrible and monopolizing as GoPro mounts are, one thing I'm really enjoying is the fact that because it's just a clip, I don't have to grab, tighten or loosen anything using two hands. I can just pop the clip out while I'm moving, grab the camera, put it back in the slot backwards, and I have a reverse angle. Thus meaning not needing to use a 360 camera or two cameras, both of which are expensive and time consuming. Not 100% sure whether this mic has worked at all. This is already the second time I've shot this vlog, and the first one had no audio, so hopefully this isn't a silent film. I've used one battery in the 2 half-hour rides on the DJI Osmo. Everything else seems to have held together well. Yeah, I guess the proof will be in how things come out in the edit. So after watching everything through, the verdict is, at least for an audio sense, pretty damn good. Even with the mic pointing back to me in sort of this configuration, so I'm speaking over it, it still picked me up pretty well, and I could hear everything I was saying. Bumps, road noise, sure, but it was workable. The stabilization, you might have noticed, was terrible. That was pure user error. I didn't have the bebop switched on, or the rock steady. Yeah, so that's why everything's shaky. So I've done a bit of stabilizing in post because I shot 4K 50, but that is not indicative of what the Osmo can do, so don't be harsh on it. Anyway, let me know what you think. Me out.